All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the stream. How you doing? It's been a while. Actually, hasn't been that long, I don't think. But it's been a little while, I think, since we've done these live streams where we're talking about business and building ourselves our $1 million company. And as the title here suggests, what is the title? I can't remember. Something about figuring out what it is that we're doing here to build a business. And I'm pretty sure, well, not pretty sure, like I'm 100% sure that we finally found our way forward and we know everything that we need to know in order to get ourselves to build that business that has the potential to make us $1 million in revenue every single year. So we're going to get into it, and we're going to get into it right away, actually. So, as the way that I guess I usually kind of how to do these things, I just have like a little bit of a presentation here ready to go. And yeah, I'm just going to chat away. And at any time, I would love to hear your comments, your chats, or what have you. Comments if you're watching this, on the replay or what have you, just about what you think and where we're going and how we're going to get there. All right. So I just starting these episodes all over again. I guess calling this one episode 0 because I think we've kindly finally have, like I said, direction. And what we're doing is we're building a podcast and content creation studio. And our goal of what we really want to do is we want to be able to give brands, our companies, individuals, the ability to build their brand or their personal brand and build a brand that not only just gets attention, but really that just converts and that helps them achieve their business goals. That's what we want to do because at the end of the day, if we can help businesses make money, we're going to make money at the same time. And it's just like, those cliche, win-win for everybody, right? So that's what we're going to do going forward here. And just like a little bit of an update for how we kind of got here is in 2022, that's when I quit my job. Great job at Dalhousie, making a 90,000 bucks a year. I was 4 weeks paid vacation, and the job itself was 35 hours a week. So a really, really good, comfortable job, right? Kevin, how's it going, man? Welcome. Good to see you. How's everything going? Hope everything is going well with you. It's been a while since we've had a discussion on like how things are going with you and how things are going with Rebel Ants and everything like that. So I've been poking in every now and then. Seems like you guys are still, seems like you guys are doing really well. So I'd love to hear an update on what you guys are doing. But yeah, so that's when I quit my job in 2022. And it's like, okay, I need to build a business, need to become financially free. And then I know websites. I've been building websites for forever. It's like, oh, I might as well just start an agency. And then we started live streaming the process. Kevin, as you know that, doing lots of live streaming and just doing lots of coding. And it's like, hey, we're going to build a web design agency. So that's what we wanted to do. Or that's what I wanted to do. And get my mouse over here. And on that live stream, we did 493 live streams, and we were streaming basically every day, Monday through Friday, I think, for the most part, anyways. And that started in January 23. And, of course, it's just the whole process of how we're going to build $1 million company. And the focus was on Webflow design, development, and Webflow components as well, too. So we've done a lot of permutations on what it is that we were going to build. And I think we probably spent at least a good 6 months, I think, building this Webflow components thing, which was going to be, that was going to be the bread and butter. I was like, okay, I feel comfortable doing this. I think this is going to work. I think there could be a market, and away we go. But overall, though, the business growth was really slow over the past couple years, and the clients were coming in. And I guess I would say there were few and far in between. Like I get a new client every couple months or whatever, and that would be great because it'd be like $10,000 or whatever the thing was, and then that was it. And then, it'd be dry. It would dry up again. And there were some bids that would come in and then they would just fail. And part of it looking back, you could say that some of it was the market and how people kind of tend to do business here in Canada and how that they're, I'd say they're adverse to spending money, which is, I think, maybe it would be a good way to say that a lot of companies here in Canada tend to do business, and a lot of them are kind of looking for government funding as well too in order to be able to subsidize their spending. But the truth is, it's really that I've been building websites for the past 20 years and maybe even more now. I don't even know. And I think I've really lost the passion or the desire to just want to do it anymore. It was just like, I just, was just going through the motions, and I just, I'd like, it's almost like I couldn't do it. It's like I wake up in the morning and be like, I just don't want to sit in front of the computer and just code anymore or design or whatever the case may be. So that was really hard. And it took me a long time to figure that out because on the one hand, it's like, okay, well, I want to build a business and I'm really good at web design development. So, I might as well just try to do that. And then if I get really big, then I could just hire other people to do the what's it called? The fulfillment of the work. And then I would just be building a business. So, but I don't know, it was just kind of eating away at me. And, it took a lot of thinking to be like, okay, this is something that I just really don't want to do. So we decided to, like the pivot kind of happened over time. And like I said, well, just in the side here, I just tried to go through and tried to persist past the daily grind. But I really wanted to make it work. I really wanted to figure out, how to build a business. So I decided, you know what? How do I talk with other people? How can I learn from people that are successful, that have built a successful business, and talk to them? And I figured, they're not just going to answer my phone calls. I was like, okay, maybe what I can do is I could just have a podcast. So I'll start a podcast because then I can invite them on the show. And then I'm like, okay, well, people like to come on podcasts. At least that was my thought anyways. It seemed like it. And I could give them some content so that they can take with them. And then, that would just be a way that I could just talk with them and see and learn so I could build myself my business, right? And then the first episode, like I filmed in January and then kind of published kind of right away. And like, as you guys probably know, if you've been following me for a while, like I just fell in love with it. I was like, this is the most fun ever. It was fun talking to people. It was absolute blast talking with people in person. And the whole idea, like even doing the videos and all that stuff, like it was just something that was new and it was different. And then I really enjoyed it as well. Yeah, there's still the stuff that sucks about sitting at a computer desk and doing some of the tedious work, but it was still something that I was learning how to do. And I think it created a little bit more of that spark of, hey, this is something that is new, but it's enjoyable. And it's kind of along the niche of what I like to do in terms of being creative and all that stuff. So anyways, I loved it. And then right away in February, I started to get to work on the website and immediately changed it from Pixel, the web design, Webflow development company. And it's funny too, I was going back looking at how the site looked like way back in the day. It's kind of funny. Anyways, and then now today, where it's just, in February 2025, was just immediately, we are a podcast production studio. So people could just book and come onto the studio to record a podcast. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what was going on in terms of a studio. All I knew was that I had built a studio here in the den. And I was like, might as well see if anybody is going to want to use the studio to, to film their podcast. And so, and one thing I want to hear too about switching over to the content production side of the things, it's something that like I've been making videos since 2009. If you go online, if you really kind of search, you'll find me way back in the day doing some interesting stuff online. But I knew I knew how to make videos. I knew how to edit videos. So I was pretty sure I could make this work, but I was like, I still don't know, like, what's the business, like, what's a business case? And are businesses going to want to use this service, right? Is there an actual problem or pain point that I'm trying to solve, right? Like Andrew giving it away. Yeah. So you remember, Andrew remembers all those stuff. And those were some good times. And I haven't forgotten about that, Andrea. So you're not off the hook just yet, eh? Anyways, so what was I saying? I can't remember what I'm saying. Something about, I guess I was doing lots of video stuff. Anyways, so fast forward to today, we have the studio, we have the room in an apartment building of all places, and let's just see if anybody is going to kind of book. And then, like I said, to my surprise, people did start booking. So within like a month, I got a first booking, and I was like, who's this person? Just some random person that wanting to book. And I could tell the story. If you want to know that story, you can let me know about the first session that I had on here. It was a complete disaster. It was terrible. In terms of like they didn't know where to go, and then I didn't know how to like talk with them in terms of how they should be in front of the mic and stuff. Like it was a disaster. Like it probably wasn't as bad as you would think, but for me, it was a complete disaster. But I had never looked back. I still had a blast doing it, and people were still booking. And it was the first time ever in like my business career. Like, hang on a second, let's zoom in. This is important. This is the first time ever that I had put something up on a website and I did literally zero marketing, zero anything, and people were just booking and like buying what I had to sell. First time ever. It's always been either, maybe somebody knew me and they, they got my name and wanted me to make them like a simple website or whatever. But this was like legit business from strangers. So super, super exciting, I guess, for me. So then it's like, okay, maybe this could work, right? So for the rest of kind of 2025, it was very interesting. I'm still having this debate here, and Andrea, Andrea, since if you're watching this, you know that I've struggled with this, and I still kind of think about this quite often. Is that I loved podcasting. I have my podcast, Unconventional Mindset. I get to talk to people, bring them on the show. Fantastic. But then there's also the studio as well. So what do I do? Do I focus on building a great podcast, or do I focus on building a podcast studio? Now, of course, the podcast, like the thing about the podcast studio, it generates revenue like right away. Someone comes into the studio and they pay me money and it's in the bank and it's fantastic. But the podcast itself, I think what it has done when I was just doing my own podcast is it helped generate word of mouth of people that have been into my studio. They see the clips of other people on social media, whatever. They're like, hey, I want to film there as well too. So I think that's really good, but I think it's kind of a slow growth. And then, so anyways, the point is I just don't really know what I should focus on. So, and then after a lot of thinking, a lot of just late nights, just, like, what do I do? What's the best thing for me? I just decided this year that, if I'm going to build a studio and I want to build a studio into how I can envision it, I got to go all in and do everything that I can to make sure that I'm building the best studio in the world. So I stopped doing podcasting for a little bit just so I could really kind of think about this stuff in my mind. And so just in the background, I've just been quietly putting together the infrastructure, if you will, in terms of the processes. And like, Kevin, you'll love this. I'm using Notion for like all my wikis and things that I give to my clients. Like it's all kind of written down there that I have everything kind of in place to now I could start marketing and like, okay, we're going to build this business and we're going to do this right. Thinking back, I'm like, I should have just live streamed this whole process of me thinking about how to do this, but I didn't just because I was just so into it. It's just like, and then I wasn't, anyways. So I should have done that. That's my bad, but we're going to now. That's for sure. So that's what we're doing. We're building a business and we're going to like a podcast studio business, and we're going to build the best podcast studio in the world, bar none. It is going to be amazing. And we want it to be so ridiculous that if a client is at least, here in Nova Scotia, Halifax, whatever, if they're like, I want to make some content, like it's going to be without a doubt the no-brainer decision to come to Pixel. Like that's it. Like that's it. Andrea, let's fucking go. Yeah, 100%. We are going. It's going to be awesome. So like kind of what does that mean? Like Hollywood level production, right? Like if you used to have to go to Hollywood to make an amazing looking movie or whatever, you can do that right here in studio, right? And anybody can do it. Any business of all sizes. I don't care if you're just starting out tomorrow. And then just have the type of experience that is just world, like, I don't even know what the world leading. I don't even know what to say about that. The one thing I'll say is there's a book I'm reading now. It's what the hell is it called? It's not Unreasonable Hospitality. And I think it's like a restaurant guy. And I think it's in the movie or the TV show, The Bear. I don't know if you've seen the show, The Bear, where they're in a restaurant and they do these things that go like so above and beyond of what somebody would expect as a service in a restaurant, where I think one of the things is somebody's talking about pizza and someone overhears it and then they go make the nice pizza for them. And it's just like amazing. So if you haven't heard about it, just heard it. Anyways, I want people to experience that type of service in Pixel. They're just going to be like, I can't believe this. So quality and experience, that is going to trump profit every single time. If somebody comes in and they're like, I want to have a specific look to my videos, and that's going to cost like a $2,000 lens, like some vintage lens we have to buy to make that happen, we're going to do that, even though they're only going to pay us $200. Like that is the type of thing that it's quality and experience over everything. Like I don't care. And then, well, I mean, I care because I need to make some money. But Kevin, what's missing from your current service? In order to get there, there's lots that are missing that we're going to be building up. So if I think I'm understanding that question correctly, but we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about what we're doing now and then how we're going to go to get there. So that's coming up here in a minute. So we'll talk about that. So it has me pretty excited. So what do we have right now? What services do we offer? So you go to our site, you can book the studio at $150 an hour, which is $106 US per hour, which is like, we'll talk a lot about pricing and what it should be, because that is this is really, really low compared to what you'd get here in town, like almost criminally low. So, and then we also have add-ons. So if you want to do if you want to have a live edit of your show, if you want to have behind the scenes photography, if you want to get your files delivered on the cloud instead of just bringing bringing an SSD with you, those are all additional things that you can buy on the like as part of our plan. So, and the other thing we offer is studio memberships, and that's the thing that is by far the most popular, which is amazing. Is that people pay between $675 and $3,000 a month, and they just have a certain block of time that they can come into the studio and just record their content, and that's great. So that's already giving us a really good recurring revenue, which is amazing. I never even thought this was a thing when we first started. And then on top of that, then we have add-ons. So if you want to have any editing done, if you want photography, live edits, like all the same thing, it ranges between $75 to $7,500 a month. Maybe I should, let me bring this up because maybe it's worth just going over here just for a second. All right. Is this showing up? Okay. Zoom in a bit. So yeah, so here's what we have. We have memberships, so 3 different membership tiers. And this, again, monthly recurring revenue, the holy grail of, companies, software companies, but we're not a software company, we're a studio now. Or you can come book for a single day, and that's fine. And then there's different add-ons here. So depending on if you're a member, depending on if you're basic, growth, or scale, then you could add on these additional services. Unlimited video editing, live editing, cloud file delivery, photography. And then there's just different pricing here, again, depending on how much you're going to be using the studio. So it goes very quick from, if you're just someone who's new that's just starting out, $675 for 5 hours of like Hollywood level studio record time is amazing. Like, you're not going to find that anywhere else. And that's a pretty good deal, especially if you don't have money to pay thousands of dollars for marketing or whatever. Do your own marketing, create your own content, right? And if you want to add in some editing because you don't have the capacity to do it yourself or you don't know how, it's still reasonable price, right? So I think we have stuff covered for everyone and for everything. So that's what I'm really looking forward to, is seeing how much we can go from the beginner to someone who's really really making, between $3 to $10 million in revenue every month. We can kind of cover all of that. So really, really excited about that. So it took a while to kind of get there in terms of that thing of those types of services and the pricing and all that stuff. So, but where do we really want to go? And Kevin, maybe this is what you're talking about, what's missing. And this is what I think is really missing, is we have everything you need to come in and record content, and we can even do the editing for you. But how is that going to drive business growth and business goals? I think that's the biggest thing, right? If someone's going to come in and spend money on making videos, how do you know it's actually going to work? And that's where I worry about people coming in, they'll start a podcast for a couple episodes, and then they won't get any results, or they won't know if it's working or whatever, and then they'll just quit. So that sucks, because then I don't get money. But if we can do something where we can work with clients and help them figure out how to create content in a way that's going to drive actual business results, and we could demonstrate that we're going to drive business results, that's going to be amazing. And that's where I think the Alex Hormozi, where he's talking about the $100 million offer, like, make them an offer so amazing that they would be complete idiots, so stupid to say no to. And I kind of have it here in quotes. Like, here's just an idea in my head of like, hey, I work with brands and I work with businesses to create personal brands that can grow the revenue by 5x, 10x, whatever, in like 12 months, whatever it is, all organic, like growing their YouTube channel. That would just be amazing. right? So if I can figure out how I can make that type of offer, then that would be, I think, again, it's a no-brainer. But I have to figure that out. So are they live streaming from your studio to their channels? So that is something that they absolutely can do 100%. So I haven't had anybody, I've had a few inquiries, but nobody yet to do any kind of live streaming through here, but it's certainly possible. They certainly can do that. You'd set it up. Not here. Mine looks pretty dull because it's just a black wall background, but we can set up the whole studio to do that. So yes, and that's, again, I guess it would depend on the strategy. So with that being said, I can't claim any of this. I've never done this now. Like, I'm going to try to do it for myself, which is what I'm starting the process now, is I'm going to be starting to make videos on a weekly basis to grow my brand and to grow my business and track how well all my videos are performing. So we'll get into that. But that's what we're testing right now. And so I've actually put it out. So like I'm working with somebody right now, and I'm trying to get maybe 1 or 2 more companies to come on board. So I'm working with real companies now that are going to be coming to the studio, and we're working on developing their brand strategy and doing all that kind of stuff. And we're going to develop the whole content strategy, and we're going to make content for them for 6 months for the rest of the year. And we're going to track everything, and we're going to see how well we can grow their business. So it's my hope that over the next 6 months that I can have these 1 to 3 amazing case studies where I've actually taken businesses and grown their online presence, whatever, to translate to more sales of their product. So what am I actually doing? So we're workshopping the brand positioning. What is it you want to achieve with your brand? What do you want to be known for? All that kind of fun stuff. And then from there, we develop the content strategy. What types of videos are we going to make? What type of videos do you like to make? Is it going to be a live stream? Is it going to be a podcast, long form video? What makes the most sense for the person who's going to be like in front of the camera? And then from there, collaborate on making the scripts, making the ideas on what it is that they're going to be talking about. And it's going to be a lot of on the customer to talk to, or the client to make, their scripts or whatever, because they're the ones who are experts in that field. But there's lots of things that I think I know about in terms of video production to kind of help them, develop the hooks and all that kind of stuff. Coaching talent. I think that's a big thing. A lot of people that I've seen so far, they have never really been on camera before, and they have, I would say, an interesting time letting their personality shine through in front of the camera. Not everybody, but a lot of people do. And I've even had people tell me that they don't even want to, like, they want to do videos, but they feel so bad that they feel like they're not good enough to be on camera. And I'm like, it's nonsense, but I totally understand it. It's kind of funny where, have you ever heard of people say, I want to go to the gym to lose weight, but I need to lose weight first before I go to the gym because I feel like I'm too big. I've heard of stuff like that before, which is kind of fun. It's like, well, that's why you go to the gym. So anyways, that's why you come talk to me, and I'll help you feel more comfortable in front of the camera and how to talk to the camera and all that fun stuff. Anyways. And then of course, doing all the videos, like the production, distributing, editing, all that kind of stuff. That's going to be done in studio. That's easy enough. We got that on lock already. But then the big thing is developing a system, whether this is going to be software or not in the future. This is a whole nother potential avenue for revenue in the future, or even building some software, is how do you create links on every video or every piece of content and track how well it's performing? Because we want to see someone clicks on video X and then they go and they sign up for a newsletter, or they go and sign up for the demo, or whatever the sales funnel is like. We want to be able to track how well each video is performing, because when we know which videos are performing, we know what's working and what's not in terms of what's resonating with the target audience. So that's something that most people, they don't do, right? They just put out a bunch of content and like, is it working? I don't know. Or they'll use metrics like, hey, how many views did my video get? Like, who cares how many views your video get if you're not getting business, right? So example, you can get a video that has 10,000 views and you get 1 client, but a video gets 100 views, but you get, 50 clients because you resonate with them, right? So it's better to have the 50 clients than the 10,000 views, whatever. I think you know what I'm saying. So where do clients typically use or host these videos? YouTube, their own sites. So the way it is right now, the clients that I have, like 100% on YouTube. and they repurpose the content and they basically post it everywhere, right? So like if you're coming in here filming a podcast, it's going on YouTube and then it's going on Spotify, all the different podcast channels, but people always clip stuff and then they just put it on social media everywhere. So that's where the clients right now, it's basically everywhere, right? But that being said, if we're trying to focus on what's going to specifically grow someone's brand and their business, like I would like to focus on one thing and focus on YouTube. The reason why I'm so bullish on YouTube is because unlike any other social platforms out there, YouTube is like the only one that's like a search engine. Whereas you're on Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever, it's like post the content, it's gone after 24 hours, right? It's just like it just disappears. And then you got to feed the algorithm for more stuff. It's like forget about the algorithm. We're trying to hit our target audience and our customers, right? What are the customers searching on YouTube for, right? That's what we want to get. And those types of videos are the ones that drive, typically, those are the ones that drive actual business goals or business growth, I should say. So that's what we're going for. Yeah. So all that being said, what is the pricing going to be like? I have no idea. I have no idea what this is going to be. We're going to go through this whole process. I'm going to figure out how long this stuff takes me, how long it takes to work and collaborate with these clients and setting up their brands, doing all that vision boarding and that kind of like, where do you want to see your brand in the next 3 years? How do you want it to grow your business? And, you know, what's your sales funnels like? And all of that stuff and integrating all that stuff together. I could see it falling between $5,000 to $15,000 a month. And then I'd like to say like, well, there's got to be some kind of commitment, because the biggest thing to understand, or I hope that people need to understand, is that it takes time, right? Like you can't just post one thing and then be like, how come I'm not a millionaire yet? You know, I could attest to that. It takes a while. It takes a few posts to grow your voice and to grow your brand, right? So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. So, and what about this live stream? So how does this all fit in? Basically, what I want to use this as, like, there's quite a lot of things that I want to do, but obviously number one is I love the fact that I've always wanted to, and I still want to this day, is to create this awesome online documentation of somebody going from nothing. Well, now we're not quite at nothing. We're at a little bit, we're like a smidgen above nothing, but to like a million, right? I want to have that. So you could watch it from episode 1 to here and see like the whole journey, which you still pretty much can now, but maybe one day we'll kind of clean it all up. But that's still the priority number one of the goal that I want to have. But what I really want like individual episodes to be is just to go over the things of what worked, what didn't work, where did we fail, you know, or where did we succeed? How much money did we make this week, right? How is our own personal branding? How's that working? How are our videos performing? All of these things, like how am I setting up tracking codes to track how people are going from watching one of my videos to maybe being coming into the studio to record their stuff, or whatever the case may be, right? I want to just talk about all of this stuff and to really kind of dive deep into the business to figure out, okay, what do we need to work on to help us achieve our goals? And I think that's one of the things that early on when I was doing this, I was just doing stuff to do stuff like, oh yeah, okay, I guess we'll just code this today and whatever, but not really thinking about what the business goals were. I think there was some clarity when we were doing the Webflow components, but other than like, even then there was not like, well, how are you going to get people to know about it? How are you going to get people to use it? It's like I built it. Then I was like, oh God, I don't want to do this anymore. It was kind of crazy. So we're going to make sure that that's not going to happen anymore. So yeah, so that's where I think this live stream is going to fit in, to be really targeted and technical about, hey, listen, this is how we're going to do the day-to-day stuff to actually grow a business. And hopefully there could be some, like it can relate to you. Obviously you're probably not building a studio business, but you're trying to build a business as well too. And I think there's certain business fundamentals that I think we can all learn from. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for this live stream. And let's talk a little bit about medium-term goals, short-term goals, and long-term goals that I have for Pixel. Because I think these are, you can call me crazy, and please do. And I'll just say I don't care, because I have pretty ambitious goals. And whether I'm going to get, like, I will get to them. So I'll laugh at your face once I get there. Anyways, unless you're cheering for me too, which I appreciate. So, all right, medium-term goals for Pixel. Rolando, how's it going, man? Great to see you. Great to hear from you. Great to have you here. And every time I think about this, now it's a good time we're talking about goals here. And I always think, Rolando, I always have you in my head of like, I'm a greedy capitalist. I'm like, yeah, me too. Here we go. We're gonna make so much money. It's gonna be ridiculous. So that's kind of where I always see that. So, but sometimes to make money, we got to spend money. But we'll get to that too. Okay, medium term goals for Pixels and for Pixel. And I just kind of have here. It's like once we reach them, it's like this is not the end all be all. Like I'm not gonna be satisfied at $1 million. We're gonna go way more than that, right? So like I even have stuff in my mind for 9 figures, but maybe we'll get to that at some point. I don't know if I want to be too confident what's going on here. All right, medium term goal number 1. We want to reach $85,000 in monthly recurring revenue by January 2029. And that will make us to be $1 million business because $1 million I think is 83,333 per month. That's $1 million revenue. So that's goal 1. Goal 2, the studio that I have, it's still in my apartment building. So we're still in an apartment studio, but I have this vision in my head of this like industrial warehouse thing that I want to have, this 10,000 square foot studio thing that has all kinds of different rooms, just amazing stuff to create anything you could possibly desire, except for maybe a Hollywood movie. But even then, they could make little sets. Anyways, I want to build that dream studio. I want to have that. And, it's probably going to cost a lot of money, but we'll get there. So a world-class creative space. So we're going to get that. And goal 3, just the number 1 destination for people in Eastern Canada to want to work with. So medium-term goals, obviously long-term, all of Canada, but let's just say anywhere in Eastern Canada, you want to film your stuff for your business, Pixel is the place to be. So that's our medium-term goal. And let's bring it down to our short-term goal for the rest of 2026. So I want to reach 15,000 in monthly revenue. I don't know if I put it in this slide deck, but where we are right now, I must have put it in here in the future in the other slides. Oh my goodness, I got something in my nose. It's so itchy. Sorry about that. Anyways, we're at just over, I can't remember the exact number, but we're just over 7,100 in monthly recurring revenue right now. So we want to just a little bit over double that by the end of the year to get to 15,000. So we're going to try really, really hard to get there. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get there. Because again, we're already at 7,150, whatever the heck the number is. If you want to know about all the numbers in the description below, sorry, this is a bad plug. Maybe this is a good segue, but in the description below this video, there's a link to my newsletter. And every week I'm going to post actual revenue numbers, like in detail of like profit, loss, all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in knowing the full numbers, that's where I'm going to be putting it in. So just subscribe for that, free, whatever, just a newsletter. Anyways, so goal number 2, I've already started kind of unofficially looking at real estate for where I could rent or buy a specific lot or property, whatever, to have as the home for the studio. But at the end of the year, I really want to I need to do it because the studio, we have like kind of one look, maybe two different looks for customers that have been here for a while with me. But I really want to have more looks and more things in the studio. So we're going to be looking at having that by sometime in 2027. So, but officially start looking in 2026 once we're making, more money. Always about more money. And goal 3, this is maybe a little bit more of a nebulous thing, but every week or whatever the case may be, I just want to always make sure that I'm thinking, how can I make people's experience better when they come to the studio, right? Whether it's like, oh, well, this person wanted to have this type of snack, or this person, they asked for this and I didn't have it. Like, what can I do to make sure that, I just meet and exceed their expectations? Because there's always things that can be done better. And I'm always thinking about that. And again, I always go back to the first client that was here last April. Oh man, it was a complete disaster, but we've gone quite a ways from there. And I think we still have quite a ways to go as well too. So long-term vision and goals for Pixel. So like, as I said, I think of, when people think of great storytelling, you think of Pixar, or you think of the great, tech brands like Apple or what have you. I think of Pixel as being this new kind of brand that is just like the place to go where the not everyday person, but where you can go to communicate your ideas, right? So I even have here like just the infrastructure that gives you, me, anybody who wants to create a real business and they want to get their brand across, they want to convey their message, they want to communicate their ideas. Pixel is the place to go. Whether that means there's different studios around the world, which of course that's what it's going to have to be. But that's why I vision for Pixel, right? So it's again the Pixar, the Apple, whatever Pixel. Maybe that's a little unfortunate that they're close, but it's the place to go if you want to communicate your ideas, right? So in boxing, there's a saying: "Hit the body, and the head will fall on its own." What I mean is, the more consistent and intense your work is in getting clients, the faster you reach your goals. Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, boxing, I know that from Muay Thai. But then again, a roundhouse kick to the head will put your client to the mat like that, or a nice elbow. But yeah, no, I think I resonate with that quite a bit. And oh shoot, I'm not getting the rest of the comment here. My stupid face is in the way. Where am I? Ah, the comment's gone. But yeah, consistency and intensity that I work towards doing that is the thing that I've always been lacking. Like if you go back to all my streams and stuff. Yeah, we did great at building stuff, but we did shit at actually going out there and putting it to the world what we're doing and why people should care, all that kind of stuff. But that changes today. We're not doing that. Now we're going to go out there and tell the world and keep telling the world what it is we do, how we can help them, and get people to come here and build ourselves to the stratosphere. So that's where we're going. So then, just real quick here to wrap up, what are we doing this week? This is a live stream of like a weekly stuff of where we want to go. Oh, here we go. I have the number right here. So what do I want to work on this week? Again, looking at the goals. What are our goals? What are our objectives, right? We want to reach $15,000 in monthly recurring revenue. That's goal number one. We got to get there. So how do we get there? We need to have more customers. And how do we get more customers? Well, we need to start to do more marketing. So that's what we're going to do. And then here's a number. Right now, this is just in recurring revenue, and people that come in and they book the studio or they want to buy like a podcast package, that is complete. I'm not even thinking about that or adding it here, but this is just in 100% guaranteed revenue. That's where we're at, which is phenomenal. I'm so thankful and grateful and so happy that we've gotten to this point. And it's been 3 years in the making, maybe 4 years now, since 2022. So that's crazy. But now let's get into overdrive, right? Let's get hyper focused. So we need to market. So I know what my target, we've already done stuff on the target market. So we have an idea of where our target customer is. So I'm going to make a list of the 10, 15 videos that I think is going to speak the most to them. And I'm going to start making them. I'm going to film them this week. We're going to film them and then we're going to release them. We're going to release the first one next Monday. And whether I do that before, maybe we'll do it a little bit before, and then we could live stream, we could talk about it and see all the things we're doing in order to track that. Yeah, maybe that's what we could do next week. We can figure that out. But anyways, so yeah, and we're going to release at a minimum. We're going to start with committing to one video a week. And then by the end of the year, we should have 25 videos that are like the people like, hey, how do I start a podcast? Or how do I record content for my business? Or how do I build my personal brand with video? Whatever the case may be, they'll watch our videos and hopefully they'll be targeted within the area. That's the one thing that sucks about a brick and mortar business is that you can't target people all over the world. You can only target people that like live in your area. But that doesn't mean we can't create products that can help them as well too. So we can start thinking about these alternate modes of generating revenue as well in the future. But for now, I think we can, I don't know what we can max out here, like in person on the ground here in Halifax. I think even just in Halifax alone, we can max out at $1 million. I'm pretty sure we can do that. So we don't have to worry about that too much right now. See, when I start talking, I just start thinking about all these other different things we could do, but focus. Okay. So, right. And I want to document what I'm doing to create links that are trackable for each video and each piece of content that I do. And I'm generally going to use, most likely I'm going to use like UTM tracking, which is super simple, where you can add like your source and all that kind of stuff, all these descriptions. Oh, excuse me. I'm talking too much. Actually, if you don't know UTM, let me see if I can. Now, let me bring this up right here. So if you look at analytics, and if you want to make a specific type of campaign, I think we can build one right here. Excuse me. You could use this to just build a specific campaign for every video. Like, what's the source, like YouTube, what's the medium, what's the campaign? And then whenever someone clicks on that link, the analytics will know where they're coming from. And then I just need to tie that to the website. And when someone clicks on join, and then I'll know that person watched that video, clicked it, and then they joined, and then we got revenue from that, right? So anyways, got to figure all that stuff out and just kind of document what that's going to look like. I think you could offer remote podcasts and video production through OBS or other streaming software. Everyone has a good camera on their phone, so they can do it remotely and still look good. That's an interesting thought. Sorry, driving, but have lots of. How are you texting? I guess there's text to speech now. I should know about that. Stay safe, man. Be careful on the road. Oh my goodness, that's an interesting point. Very interesting. I like that. I don't know what to do with that just quite yet. And especially if you're thinking of multi-streaming on different platforms as well too. But then you're not, I mean, you can still use OBS for that, but you might want to use it on other platforms, and can get a little bit more complicated. Very interesting. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, something to think about for sure. Yeah. Ooh, okay, I like that. Okay. The brain is going. All right. Okay, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, just following the links and analytics and tracking that, because I think that's the most important thing. I think that's key. You need to be able to track whether something's working or not, because that's going to be the meal ticket of helping people or getting people to know that if they work with Pixel, that we can deliver results, right? So, and there's software that can be built for this as well too, and that's where I think a lot of money can be made for that, because if you can build a software that people can go ahead and create their own content and track stuff, ooh, man, that'll be amazing. Okay. And then number 4 here, I have number 5, start posting behind like all the stuff I'm doing behind the scenes for like my clients or whatever. Just post. I take pictures here all the time when someone's here. I just got to be posting, just like, here's what I'm doing. And I think LinkedIn is the best way to do that. And so I'm just going to just play around with LinkedIn and seeing how that works. And maybe that is like where I could do some more call to actions of like, hey, follow the journey if you want to follow along what I'm building or whatever. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure exactly with LinkedIn. Again, YouTube is going to be like my primary thing, but LinkedIn I think is a good place to just post some stuff that I'm doing. And then figure out what I can do with this live stream to maybe repurpose this. And maybe that's part of the newsletter that I release, and then add on more of the technical details or the financial details of how things are going. And then maybe that could be something I could post on LinkedIn as well too. I'm not sure. Maybe I could multi-stream to LinkedIn too. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But that's just the stuff that I'm kind of thinking about for this week. So Kevin, bring up this comment. Bring up the comment. Oh, am I not? What the heck? Oh, this is probably why that comment's not coming up. Because it's, well, there we go. I'll show you EVMUX, which is what I use and would be perfect for this. Is it Apple only, or is it Windows based? It's funny though. Something happened to my laptop and I was like, oh, I might have to get a new laptop. And in my mind, it went, is it time now for me to get a Mac? Just because I have people that come in that are Mac, and then, oh God, I'm like, I can't believe I thought about this. Web-based. Let me look it up. EVMUX. The best way to live stream and record. Oh, I could share my screen here. How do I do that? So, all right. The best way to live stream and record studying podcasts. Is this work better than Riverside? Because I'm looking at this right now. It looks similar to Riverside, but it's actually looking, even right here, it's looking like it's way more customizable than Riverside, which is one of the things that I'm not a big fan of Riverside, but my clients like it. So it's funny. So I have clients that uh Rolando, I think, okay, hang on. Rolando, I think, oh my goodness. I have to get my, hang on a second. Let's move me right up here. I think that's be better. Okay. Rolando says, I think posting about financial matters is a bad idea. You're going to attract more envy than customers. Oh, that's funny. It's not funny in a like that. That was funny, but do you ever remember Pat Flynn, who did Smart Passive Income? He used to do these monthly income reports. I don't know what he called them. And that's when he was making like hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, and he was putting it on there. And I see your point, and I feel like it's one of those things where there's not a right or wrong answer for everyone. Like I think some people are going to love seeing it, especially as a business owner. It's like, oh, what are you spending your money on? How are you making your money? Oh, that's interesting. Maybe I can tweak my studio that way or whatever. But then, yeah, I could easily see other people being like, oh, well, that's, you know, like, yeah, I don't want to see how much money you're making. Why are you flexing on me? So it's a good point. Maybe it's something to think about. Um, yeah. But I mean, if my whole live stream is like how to make $1 million, I kind of have to show something, right? But maybe like you're saying, it's not so in there. And maybe it's something that's done, like I said, in a newsletter where it's like, well, you got to be subscribed. So it's not broadcast to the world. It's just on a newsletter. It's really good to think about. So much. Let's get on a call soon. Hey, if you're willing to, you could hop on this live stream and then we could talk about things in on this live stream if you're game for that, because that would be awesome. And we could even just try out this EV Mux to do this live. So Kevin, let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. The second time you've been on what, once or twice? Once for sure. I remember you're helping me out with oh god, what's it called? Notion. There it is. There's the word. All right. EV Mux was created with you in mind. Well, I appreciate that. Anywhere without the need of expensive, it can produce breathtaking experiences at the touch of a button. Well, that sounds pretty good. Fully branded. See, now you're kind of speaking my language. If I can have complete control, but that's the thing. It's usually when you have complete control, there's some other drawbacks, but 12 screens. Ooh. They split server side. Okay, that's interesting. With OBS, if you do multi-streams on OBS, you can tell OBS, like you can send different qualities and different streams to different places. So you can stream like 4K on YouTube, but like 1080p on whatever, and you could even split the audio, which is kind of cool. But like, I don't have time for that. It's ridiculous. This looks good. Huh. This is how long have these guys been in business for? I'd love to know. Since 2020. Okay, so they're newish to the game. Ooh. Okay. The only thing, browser based. What could be the downfalls of something being browser based? Well, obviously, if you lose connection, you lose connection. That's the same with anything. If you lose internet, you're done. This is interesting. All right. I'm going to bookmark this because we're going to, yeah. Take a look at that. I've been using it 3 years and very well versed in it. So easy for remote guests. I think that's a key too. Having a really good system for people that are remote to get in there, feel at ease and feel comfortable and not feel like they have to worry about the tech or whatever. So, and if it just works as well when you have audio issues, but I think you're still going to get that no matter what, whether, I mean, at the end of the day, they're probably all using the same kind of underlying technology in terms of, I have no idea how they do that in terms of, getting, what am I thinking of? Like getting people to connect their audio sources and video sources and all that kind of stuff. So, Holy Stokes, I caught a live stream. Welcome. So what is that? My K15 or Mikey 15? I'm not sure. Welcome to the stream. Always good to see new faces. So Rolando saying here, yes, you should show your process, how you work, what you do, and how you do it. There is a saying often used in small towns here in Mexico. There are 3 things that cannot be hidden: education, money, and what's the third thing? You gotta leave me leave me hanging? Or is that part of the saying? Yeah. So I think basically what you're saying is that even if I don't talk specifically about money, it's going to get known anyways. So I can see that. All right. So that's where we stand. This is where we're going, guys. We're doing this. We're building this $1 million podcast studio, and then from there, who knows where we're going to go, because we're going to go and becoming the brand that's going to be world renowned for businesses, anybody, to create Hollywood level content. So I'm super pumped about this, but of course, super pumped to just getting to the point where we can start making the revenue that we need in order to start establishing ourselves in the community, getting a nice studio space here, whether we purchase land or just rent out some space. We're going to be there sooner rather than later. We're like 1 or 2 clients off. So excited for this, guys, and excited for you guys to join me along the way. Give me your thoughts. Give me your feedback. Tell me if you think there's things that I'm doing wrong or right. I would just honestly would love to hear what you guys have to say, because I think, instead of just always listening to me, having other people to bounce ideas off of, I think is a good thing. Thank you. I recently rented a space and built it out to record podcasts and talking head reels. Yeah, I think I've heard from you before. I think you've commented before. Anyways, appreciate that. It's been a grind to find clients, so it's helpful to see your journey. Well, I appreciate that. And that's the big thing that we're going to be doing here over the next. And let me bring this up here. This thing's getting cut off here. No, that's not what I wanted. There we go. I think, yeah, over the next 6 months here, we're like, that's the main focus, is finding clients. Because yeah, it like with any business, it's a hard grind. So hopefully you get some good, hopefully we do good, and then you could kind of take some of that stuff and then just use it and get clients of your own. I think with the whole podcasting space, it's like, if we can get more and more people into podcasting, more into content creation, especially for businesses, especially in the world of AI, to maybe differentiate themselves from, AI slop, but they're like real people, the more we can get people to understand the value, then the more business there's going to be for all of us. Like, if all the businesses start making content, there's going to be plenty of so much money for all of us to be able to share. So hopefully we can get there together. So looking forward to that. Rolando, hey, and what happened with the streams with you and your friend you were doing on Thursdays? Yeah, Thursday was just a day where I can't remember, but I was I was gone. I was doing work. I think either a client was in here or I was at a conference. I can't remember what it was, but we just couldn't do it on Thursdays. But we'll be back here next Thursday for sure. So, and I think that what I'm hopeful for that is that these streams will kind of complement each other. Into Mondays, we're going to be talking about what we're doing specifically in the business to grow a business and to grow our business. And then Thursdays, we're going to talk more on the philosophical level of, yes, what we're doing with business and how to make money, but how to live a good life, all that kind of stuff, right? Because they're all, to me anyways, they're all kind of connected, and finding out what gives you purpose in life. So we're going to be doing Mondays and Thursdays with Luke and myself, and maybe other people too, which we'll bring on later on. And then, but Mondays is going to be just for me, and we'll see whatever happens, in the future. Nick, how's it going, brother? Great to see you here, man. Would you rather rent a location downtown or in a business park type of place? So I don't think, no, not downtown. And the reason why is pretty much so far, all the clients that have been here in my studio are like, they hate going downtown. and they're like, I don't want to mess with traffic or whatever. So, but if a great spot opened up downtown, I think I would probably have to do it. But I'm really looking more towards some type of industrial kind of park, like you're saying, a business park, whether that's in Dartmouth or whether it's kind of here around in Bedford. But I want to have like 5 to 10,000 square feet to just go nuts and just build a whole bunch of different sets, a whole bunch of different locations, and have different areas where people can, like, there's a live stream room, there's a 6-person podcast studio, there's talking head video, like all kinds of different places where people can film whatever it is that they kind of want, right? And photography as well too. So that's what I'm looking at, but we're going to see. And one of the big things I know I need to be careful of is I tend to be a person that sees one thing and like falls in love with it, and then I'll just like want to buy it. So I have to be careful not to go look at one property, be like, this is perfect, and then just buy it and then be done with it. I think we want to just make sure we really take our time, not too much time, but take our time and figuring out what's going to be the best course of action. And I've never done this before, like renting out a commercial space or buying a commercial space. Yeah, I've never done it before. So maybe, I don't know, like I'm sure we could do like a live stream of just going to different locations. Like we'll go get like a realtor and then we'll be like, hey, take us to a bunch of places. Then we could all walk through these places together and we could see like, hey, is this a good place to rent? I don't know. Like, I don't know. So I would rent a house in the suburbs in a residential area with easy access to major roads. So that is something that we've been thinking about, whether we rent a house that's separate or we just buy a house and build out our own studio like around it or in it. So that's also another option because people are coming here and we live in suburbia and it's fantastic. People love it. So, but it's a little bit weird because it's an apartment building, but yeah, we'll see. I like that idea too. So yeah, all options are on the table, but the only thing is houses here are insane. Like $1 million, like get out of here with that. Right. And whether we can rent a residential house and use it for commercial purposes, we'd have to talk about lawyers and stuff like that too, to make sure that that's okay. Wow, that'd be amazing. 5,000 square feet. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm dreaming big here. I agree. Business park would be better than to park an actual, better for parking. Yeah. An actual convenience. Yeah. Cause that's like going downtown. I had to go downtown on Friday to meet up with a client to do some work, which was fantastic. But it's like, where do I park? It's like, oh my God. And then the traffic getting out of downtown on a Friday, right downtown. It was just, it's not the most pleasant experience. So, um, right. I commented a while back. Yes, that's right. I remember the guy in North Okanagan. Totally agree. Podcasts are a gold mine for authentic content that is more in demand than ever with the AI content that's being churned out. Yeah, and it's beyond podcasting. It's just like, how can you just showcase to your clients that you're a person that you want to do business with, right? So it's, yes, showcase that you're not like an AI, but also that you have the similar values, or that, you guys are going to get along. Like people see me and then they come to, it's like they talk to me as if they know me for a long time, whether they've seen my podcast or whatever. And that's fantastic. Like that's great. And they just know they want to do business with me. Right. So, and that just takes time and consistency of putting yourself out there. Nah, for your vision, I'd say go for business park. You get the tall ceilings and glass walls usually. Yeah, instead of like a house. That is true. There are like the idea of like these warehouses that have like 20-foot ceilings, a nice big huge garage where we can open it up, and like if somebody want to do some kind of crazy shoot and bring in their car or something, you can back that up. Yeah, so there are definitely some really good advantages of getting like business park type like real estate. So there's some really cool spots around. So that is like the number one. That's my number one choice. But I guess, like I said, just thinking of things, keeping all options on the table, because you never know what could happen, right? Like if some amazing house falls on my lap, but then again, like, is it? Like, I don't know. We'll see. But that's what we're looking at. And yeah, I just thinking about now, live streaming the process of like going to different places and checking it out. I'd love to make a whole day of it. Like, okay, guys, we're just going to live stream, like going to all these different places around town. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So looking forward to that. All right. Okay, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I love the comments, love the feedback. and no one called me completely crazy and saying that my vision is too far out there. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. If you do love this video, do please give it a like. I would super appreciate that thumbs up. Um, Mikey 15, if you find a space that you like, leave a field recorder in there for 24 hours to assess ambient noise levels. Well, that's a really good point, eh? I viewed my space a few times and it was quiet, but after moving in, not so much. Did you have to like what about soundproofing though? I imagine you've done stuff to soundproof your rooms or whatever, but that's a really good point. You know, I think of the movie Seven, where they moved into a property and it was a great property, but they moved in and then they were just up by like a rail train or whatever. And so, like, every 30 minutes, there's a huge train that would pass by and shake it. So, that's a really good point. So, I'll try to remember that. But, you know, if we get closer and closer to the time, just remind me of that because oh man, that I would say it's funny, but that would be kind of terrible if it was, you know, really, really loud. But sound, of course, you're recording audio, video, you want to make sure that you're as quiet as possible. But where you live, there are so few people. I don't want to know where you're going to feel. I don't want to know how you're going to feel when you come to Mexico City, where it takes more than an hour to travel 2.5 kilometers, and that's outside of rush hour. Yeah, I don't know how I'd feel. I'd feel terrible. That would be horrible. Um, Almost like living in Toronto, which I did for a little bit. I actually don't know if I really could say I lived there, but I was there for a while. And yeah, I do know what it's like sitting in traffic trying to get 5 kilometers down the road and you're sitting there for hours. I hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. Don't want to do it. Nope, nope. Um, but yeah, that's true. So because traffic, even our downtown traffic, it's really only during rush hour where it's bad. And even then, like the worst it's ever been is if there's no accident, is like 45 minutes to get like 12 kilometers down from the main Halifax area to like the suburbs. So yeah. There's an interesting point. So we'll see. It's funny how the thing with real estate too is, or like where to set up a studio, everyone's gonna have their own kind of thoughts as to like where they would want to go, like as a customer, and then where people would go as a store, like an owner or a proprietor. Is that the case? Or is that the right word? So we're gonna see. We're gonna see where we're gonna end up. It's gonna be fun though, that's for sure. What I do know is that it's gonna be fun, and the place that we do end up being, it's going to be great. And I think to your point, Rolando, is that the vision that I have for this space and all the stuff that we're gonna do, like I can imagine we're gonna spend at least $100,000 in setting up this whole studio space. Like if it ends up being how it's gonna look, like people are going to drive from anywhere in the city and even outside of the city to come to it. It's not going to matter whether it's downtown or in suburbia or whatever it is, right? Why did you talk about commercial use in a suburban house? I don't know about this, so don't quote me on this at all. But my thinking is if there's a piece of property that is designated as residential, but you use it 100% purely for commercial use, I think you could find yourself getting fined or in trouble, or maybe that's breaking like the zoning laws. I don't know, but that's just kind of what my gut is telling me. I would have to look into it. So, but if you buy a house, see, even if I bought a house that's in suburbia, I can't just turn it into a store because it's a residential area, right? It's zoned as a residence. So there has to be somebody living there. So you can't do that. I'm pretty sure. So that's what I mean by that. So do they really need special permits to have a home office in Canada? Not a home office. That's what I mean. You have to be living there. But if I'm saying if we just bought a house and then all we did was turn it into a podcast studio, that would be illegal. You can't do that. You would have to rezone the land. I'm pretty sure, guys, you could fill me in. You know, anybody here in Canada could fill me in. I'm pretty sure that's correct. But of course, if it's your main home and you live there, yes, you can do business in your home. But there's also only a specific amount of business that you can do. Like, I don't think you could do some type of business where people are constantly driving in and out, like a store Like you can't have just like an open store. But if you're like have a massage, you do massages or whatever, of course, I think you're totally fine to do that. So again, I don't know the laws and the details of it, but it's something that depending on where we end up, we're gonna have to think about it. Unless it's a big enough property, private, so you can have like a big double detached garage for it or a building. Yeah, if it's big, okay, so you can do it. So like if we bought like a couple acres and then had a detached garage and we use that, yeah, we could definitely rent that out as a podcast studio. I think that's not a problem. I think the problem would be imagine going to suburbia, buying one of these big fancy houses, and then we don't live there, and then it's just a podcast studio. Like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Because it's like I don't think so, but I don't know. Lots of laugh. I am set up in a small town, 5,000 people, and the next largest town, which is literally 10 minutes away. Some people feel like coming out here is akin to a deep sea diving expedition. Yeah, it's that's like this you have no traffic. Like you would have no traffic, right? It's amazing how where you live and what you're used to will greatly change your perception or your tolerance for going through traffic or sitting in traffic or how far you have to go until it's too much of a pain in the ass. Like for me, 10 minutes away, I'm like, that is nothing. 10 minutes, smooth drive, no problem. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, that's hilarious. Buy the house, move in there, live in the house, and build the studio. It's as simple as that. And much better than renting. Oh, yeah, I think so. What you're saying there, that is the way that I see it. Like if I could buy a nice property and then build a studio there and rent it out, it's still on property, then I don't have to drive into work and all that stuff. Yeah, that would be great. There's a famous rapper here, Classified. He lives kind of around the area, and then he has a studio as well on his property. I mean, it's not like a public studio or whatever, but it's in his property. And I think he has people over and whatever they do there. So yeah, so it's kind of yeah, it's something that could be done anyways. Yeah, love Classified. Yeah, he's actually well, from what I know, he's a good dude. Read his book. And yeah, he lives close by me. I would love to get him on the podcast. And he's somebody that I want to ask to see if I can get him on the podcast. So that would be so much fun. That would be so much fun. He just seems like such a great guy too. So Inner Ninja. Cool. All right. So yeah, we're 3:30. Anything else before we sign off here, guys? Again, thank you so much for tuning in. I super appreciate it. And we'll be back here on Thursday with another stream. Luke and I are going to be talking. I don't know what we're going to talk about. Some kind of philosophical stuff on life, anyways. And but if you're not into that, that's totally cool. But back here every Monday, we're going to talk business because Mondays are faced for short for business. Rolando, why are you like speaking of my dreams here? Like, of course, I'm going to buy a house on the lake. It has to be. It's going to be amazing. And here in Nova Scotia, there's lakes everywhere, which is beautiful. So, anyways, buy a house facing the lake, build a studio and a studio-style apartment, record the podcast, and rent out the apartment by the day. A perfect business. We're going to make so much money with the studio, we don't need to get into a secondary side hustle of like renting out apartments. But what I will say is for my own podcast, Unconventional Mindset, being able to have a place where we could fly in people from anywhere in the world to come on our podcast and we can house them up in this apartment for them to just stay close to the studio and like have them enjoy the town, give them an amazing experience, all that stuff. That would be amazing. So something like that is on my mind. But again, you're going a little far a ways on my my aspirations of where we're going to bring the podcast, which we haven't even talked about where the podcast is going to go in the future. But we'll get to that at some point. But first, $15,000 a month, recurring revenue, market, build YouTube videos, get ourselves out there and make more money, get clients. That's what we're going to focus on. And we're going to do that starting today, but we'll talk about it on Monday to see how things are going. Beauty, looking forward to next Monday. Thanks for doing this. Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you coming in here and engaging. It makes it all worthwhile. So I love it. Looking into EV Mux. I don't even know or Ev Mux. I don't know how to say that. I'm probably saying it wrong. and remotely doing podcasts. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah. If you do buy a house by the lake, you have to invite me to go fishing. Yes, 100%. And don't forget to bring tequila because I'm gonna have me some authentic tequila. So looking forward to that. Oh man, now I'm dreaming. Now I'm dreaming. So I think the tickets to F1 might be faster, but we'll see. We'll see which one comes first. All right, $1 million. Love that plan. Absolutely. All right, guys, that's it for me. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Really appreciate that. See you maybe Thursday, maybe next Monday. Either way, appreciate you guys for coming out, and we'll see you next time.